Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Sonia, also known as SG from Let the Lady Speak podcast, where we discuss life, love, dating, and relationships. Today we are reviewing Put a Ring on It, Season 2, Episode 7, Vision of Marriage. Before we get started, I want to thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your time. Please don't forget to comment down below and let me know your thoughts. Like, share, and subscribe if you do so see fit. Let's get into tonight's episode. So we pick up where we left off, and that is with Dr. Nicole and Sean discussing whether or not he's going to go on another date with Tari. And he says, yes, he's going to go. He acknowledges the fact that he really hasn't been given the process a fair chance because of fear and really him knowing himself and not trusting himself. But one thing is, you got to be able to go out and be around people without feeling like you're going to, be inappropriate. So Sean's going to go out on a date, and he acknowledges that Dr. Nicole was correct. They have a little kiki back and forth. It was cute. But basically, Sean said he's going to learn to trust himself. Dr. Nicole reviews what everyone is doing for the week. So everyone is going to go on a second date with the person they went on a date with. However, Lex, because she decided not to go on another date with Monty, which I think she should go on another date with Monty. Because she decided not to go on another date with Monty, she's going to work on herself and the weekly assignment. And Darian made sure to say, Dr. Nicole, don't say I'm going on a date. Say it's closure, Translation. I have to hurry up and cut this off because Kai put hardcore press on me last week, and now she's about to blow up my whole spot. She's about to blow up my spot, and I have to try to cut this off because that's what Darian does. Darian is the gaslighting, manipulating king. Him and Sean, although I can see Sean is actually doing some work. Anyway, they get their assignment for the week, and the assignment is to talk to your mate about your vision of marriage. Everybody looks at the wedding, looks forward to the wedding, but they don't talk about the actual marriage. And honestly, this was really telling because everyone is talking like they don't know their mate's vision of marriage, yet you're here pressuring them to marry you. And Lex is discussing how she's never had that conversation with Darian and she's scared. So you don't even know what this man view marriage as and what marriage may be, but you want him to marry you. That is so concerning to me. But Darian says, we've been here. We've made a lot of progress. We have a lot of places to go. We have to go up. He has activated, put in work because he knows what's about to happen with this meetup with Kai, right? Right. So next up, we have LaRonda and Sean in the car, and they're going over the date. And Sean's like, I'm confused. Like, how many times you gonna keep trying to test me? And I said this in my first and second review of this show for this season, Sean really is self-aware. He knows that he has these issues and he acknowledges it, which is big. He has a lot of manipulative behavior that bothers me. But to be honest, the fact that he's like, listen, this is my first time being faithful in a relationship. I don't know how to be cordial with women. And I wish he had said that earlier. So that's something that he could have worked on throughout the process. How do you socialize women? Like, he could have had some one-on-ones with Dr. Nicole to talk about that, but she constantly tells them they need to manage themselves, but they need tools to do that. I don't think they really know, but I think Sean is willing to figure it out. LaRonda is confused. Again, like I said last week, LaRonda's so busy trying to play this role, she's not really being true to herself. She and Sean are having a discussion about, how he pretty much throws up the towel and he doesn't want to take the test and all these other things. But, Sean is saying, listen, I know what I want. And I don't want to keep testing myself, and I don't know how to operate in this. And she's not listening to that. It then becomes per usual, a competition, and she's like, "Go give me the test. I'll pass the test every time." Your issue isn't his issue. Let's help him deal with his issue at hand, or allow him to deal with his issue at hand, and acknowledge the fact that he's saying, "I don't know how to do this. Like, the best way I know how to be faithful to you is not tempt myself." That is what Shine is saying. So, hey, LaRonda, how about you help him with that instead of trying to get into the ring and compete with him? It doesn't make sense, and it isn't beneficial to your relationship. Next up, we have Jessica and Eric. Eric is getting ready to go on his date. He comes downstairs. He's super excited. You know, they banter back and forth and take little slight digs at each other. Let me just say this. If they put the same amount of energy that they put into being petty and playing these games with one another into actually fixing themselves, their relationship will go far. They spend a lot of time being adversaries when they're partners, and that's where they're going wrong. And this level of immaturity is gotten so old. So it's like, stop it already. But anyway, Leilani comes and she looks absolutely beautiful. And, you know, Jessica goes, she answers the door, and Jessica gives her a compliment. They come upstairs, they have a conversation. You know, Jessica gives them a shot of her. Jessica decided she's going to mark her territory, right? First, she let Leilani know, "Oh, yeah, you do facials. Yeah, I'll book one." Leilani said, "No, he can get one and you can come." She's like, "Oh no, I do everything around here." You know, again, it's just a lot of awkward energy that's unnecessary. But anyway, she pours them a shot and said, "Y'all can drink out of me," because it's a shot glass with a picture of her on it. Again, energy, misuse of energy. There's better ways to use that energy, and you should be working on dealing with those childhood traumas so that you can show up healthier in your relationship. But we'll get to that later. But off Eric and Leilani goes. Now we're at Lex and Darian's house, and Lex asked Darian if he had anywhere to go, any studio time. "Nope, just you. It's just me and you." Darian's like, "I'm about to stay out of trouble. I'm going to stay good, okay?" But here's the thing, in all seriousness, they're having a conversation, and they're having a conversation about marriage and the assignment for the week, which is, what do we want out of marriage? What is it going to look like for us, right? Darian says that he's going to get married to Lex because that's what she wants, which that's not a good idea. You can't do it just for the partner. You have to do it for you, because otherwise you're not going to commit to it, right? But there's a lot that's telling. Darian talks about how he was raised by his grandparents, and basically they had a very volatile relationship, and everyone around him has been divorced. What people often don't understand is how traumatic those things are to children. I'm by no means am making excuses for Darian. I'm not, because he knows right from wrong. He does. What I'm going to say, though, is until he deals with those demons, he's never going to be right for Lex. And he acknowledged that everything that he saw growing up contributed to his fear of marriage. It seems that he has abandonment issues, because why didn't his parents raise him, right? And he's seen all of the structure around him fall apart. He saw what was love, or what he only knew as love, as confusion and combativeness and dysfunction. So where does he operate? Instead of Darian spending all this time doing what he usually does, which is investing in Takai, he really should have been working on those inner demons, because he's never going to be healthy and happy in a relationship until he learns to trust himself enough to know that he can do it, he can be faithful, until he gets over everybody that's left him or everyone that he's seen. Like, he just has to understand what a healthy relationship looks like and accept that, and he has to be able to do the work, and he hasn't done the work. Lex says she's only known marriages that stick together. So Lex says she didn't know that him and his parents, his grandparents, didn't have a healthy relationship and that it was a volatile relationship. The fact that you've been with this man for 14 years and you are unaware of the dynamic in which he grew up in says a lot. Like, listen, when you're dating and when you're in a relationship and you're talking about marriage and having children, you really, really need to know this person, because you have to understand who they are and where they come from and how that fits together. You know, it's scary to me that you've been with him and you share all of this with him, but you know nothing about him. That's when we talk about the levels of intimacy. And then they're talking about having a baby. Darian's like, we should have a baby. That's a bad idea. You have too many issues. Then Les will be locked down and he'll be back in the streets. So I wouldn't have a baby. She's like, yeah, a baby and a dog. It's a whole lot of work that needs to be done before a baby and a dog. Like, he needs some counseling on various levels. I haven't watched anybody's live, but from what I've been hearing from other reviewers, it came out about him possibly having substance abuse problems and things like that. And I see that in his behavior. Like, I alluded to it before, but I didn't want to say, but it is out there. I can't confirm or deny. This is hearsay. This is what I've heard on other reviewers, you know, because they watch the lives and things like that. But, you know, it's just, he has other issues. What is he numbing himself from? What is he running from? What is he dealing with? He needs to deal with that before they talk about going forward in a marriage and having children. So I hope someone can pull Lex to the side and have that conversation with her and with him. But Dr. Nicole is going to kind of get with him on the relationship end. Next up, Dr. Nicole has a one-on-one with Jessica. Good job, Jessica, for setting up a one-on-one. So they have a one-on-one, and Jessica talks a little bit about her past and expresses how, because she was teased and bullied growing up, her defenses are always up. And Dr. Nicole helped her get to the place where she can really express where her walls are as far as Eric is concerned. Because Jessica says, you know, anything he says, I'm ready to fight, I'm ready to argue. And that's pent up, basically just pent up anger and displaced, and it's spilled over to their relationship and in her adulthood. And good job. I'm going to say that. Good job, Jessica. And Dr. Nicole reminded her, it's time for you to show up different in your relationship. You know, model the behavior that you want to receive, because you guys mirror each other's behavior, which we talked about last review. They do tit for tat, and that's not helping. So let's try something different to see if you get further. And then also, Jessica, you know, it's time for you to go do the work on yourself. All of these couples have individual work that needs to be done. So I know I say that a lot, but it's the truth. Because one thing, again, that Dr. Nicole is trying to get them to understand is that you are only accountable for you. When you have the information you need, you're accountable for you. How are you going to move forward? How are you going to act? What are you going to accept? That's it. That's what's being said here. That's the overall message of the whole show. How are you going to show up for your partner in this relationship, and what are you going to allow, and then make your decision from there. Next up, we have Tori and Sean. They meet up. Tori looked absolutely beautiful. I love the brown on brown. I love the haircut, the whole thing, her whole outfit. She looked absolutely beautiful. So they meet up for dinner, and Sean says basically he's learning to trust himself, like I said earlier. And he asks Tori, why do you, I don't know if it's Tori or Torre, why did you want to do this experiment? And she basically said, I want to know up front that a guy has a woman, because so many men lie about being in relationships. And Sean's like, that was me, you know. But long and short, Sean has decided, listen, I want LaRonda. You know, and for whatever reason, he wants to be with LaRonda, whether it's true love, whether it's what everybody teases him about. He's made a decision, right? So he made a decision that he doesn't want to date anyone else. It's good to know that he can be around other women and not cheat, because that has been his issue. He's a cheater and he doesn't know how to operate otherwise. And okay, I tested the waters. I don't want to test it anymore. I just want to work on a relationship, which at this point is really where you should be, where you have made a decision what you want to do. Eric and Darian is still trying to figure it out. What Darian is trying to pretend like he's ready. He just never came so close to losing Lex before, right? And Eric and Jessica are spending so much time being petty and trying to make each other jealous that they're not really staying focused on the task at hand. But Sean's like, no, I'm over the dating. I just want my woman, and that's that. And you got to commend that. You know? So Eric and Leilani finally make it to their destination, and it's dark. So I don't know what happened. I think it was the COVID restrictions or something like that. I don't know. Maybe they had to close the restaurant before they let them in. I'm not quite sure. But Leilani said, yeah, we finally made it. Like, they've been on the road for a long time, or doing something for a long time. Anyway, they made it to the restaurant, and Eric says in his confession that he and Jessica are having issues with communication and trust. But at this point, what are y'all doing to work on them? Because, okay, we got your issues. How are you working on them? And Leilani made a statement that, you know, she felt more comfortable with Eric on this date, and he feels like, she said that he didn't think him and Jessica were going to work out because there's other things that he wants to experience. If that's the case, Eric, you need to just leave. Like, don't waste any more time. I'll tell you something about time. It's valuable, and you can never get yesterday back. You can never get today back. And tomorrow isn't promised. So you can't waste your time playing games. But I was already on that soapbox. Anyway, they have a date, and Eric keeps bringing up, him and Jessica again do the same thing. They bring up, how did you feel about the other date? And it's like, we're here to focus on each other. I'm not focusing on your partner, you know. And Leilani said, I don't entertain pettiness. Like, I don't have time, man. I'm like, Leilani, Eric may not be the one from you. Although maybe that's what Eric needs. Maybe Eric needs someone more mature and more structured so that he can move in a different direction. And the same with Jessica. You know, I think they're both beautiful people. I think they're good people, but maybe they're not healthy together, you know? And sometimes that's just the case, and that's okay. But they talk, and she's very affectionate, very touchy-feely. And I can relate to that. I am that way. If I like you, I touch you. If I don't like you, I don't touch you, and don't touch me, you know. And she's very touchy-feely, and they're flirting, and he's like having a hard time trying to hold it together. He said, I have to remember that I have a woman at home. Eric, it's time for you to decide what it is that you really want and what you really want to do and make a move. And that's really all I have to say, because they just flirted a lot with each other, and he kept putting it off on her, but inviting the flirt at the same time because he misses it. And just based off of what Jessica was saying, when they talk or when they communicate and deal with each other at home, all they're doing is either having sex or fighting and arguing. And, you know, that is exhausting. But again, you just have to make a decision. What do you want to do? And operate out of that instead of operating out of old behavior. Next up, the men meet with Dr. Nicole, because now it's time. You guys need to start making some decisions. Let's have some discussions about where you are, right? So Sean says, they talk about the experience overall. Sean says, you know, you turned over stones. Like, we knew there were issues. We knew there were toxicity. We were just operating in it and saying we didn't want to see it. I knew I wanted to marry her. I was just saying not yet. And now I recognize that there's things I need to work on with myself, and there's things that we need to work on in this relationship so we can fix it. Boom. That is great. Good job. Now, it's going to be a long road, but if both of them are willing to do it, then they can do it. I just think LaRonda has to be more realistic with who she is, and she has to put away that facade, you know what I mean, and reveal herself. And Sean, like Dr. Nicole recommended, you just have to manage yourself, because Dr. Nicole has said, listen, marriage is for grown people, okay? Because you do have to manage yourself. You have to manage your responses to things, how you interact, how you communicate, what you're really feeling. Just the overall picture. You do have to manage yourself, and you have to be accountable to yourself and for yourself and to your own behaviors. And then, Eric made a comment about, well, what if he say, how many times do you express yourself and it's too much? And they say, man up. Because Sean talked about how LaRonda feels like he sucks the energy out of their relationship, which you can see that, which is why, again, manage yourself, right? Express yourself, but don't drain everybody. You got to deal with yourself before you deal with others, and you allow others to deal with you. And Dr. Nicole said that's inappropriate. And she went into, which is a very important conversation, she went into how, especially in our community, men are not allowed to feel. And that's so true. They're not allowed to feel or express themselves unless it's in aggression and anger, because, you can play sports and get it out there, but you're not allowed to cry, and you don't know how to communicate. And a lot of times men act out trying to express themselves. And ladies, whether you want to notice, acknowledge this or not, it really is the truth. And the sooner we as women, especially black women, come to the point where we can be realistic about what men have been through, and men, you need to do the same for women, because we have suffered a lot of abuse and neglect, right? Once we can come to the table, we can start having healthier relationships. Because I don't know if you guys are recognizing what's going on in the world here, but we have a lot of issues, and it's causing a lot of destruction, and it's going to be to the point of no return soon. I don't review a lot of shows because a lot of the shows can be extremely draining, but more than that, a lot of times it's perpetuating behavior that we don't need to see, because these people are just making money off of us. They are not helping us. Very few shows have good therapists. Very few shows are offering any kind of tools or showing you that you can have hope. They're just putting the dysfunction out there, saying, look and see. And it becomes glamorous, and other people are starting to mirror that behavior. Sorry about the soapbox, but that's really how I feel. And it's so frustrating, especially in these YouTube streets, when this man versus female, alpha versus all of this. It's just destructive, because no one is coming up with solutions. We're not trying to help. We're not trying to have honest conversations, and we're not trying to face the true damage that's been done in this community. But if we don't hurry up and get on the same track, we're going to implode, and there will be no more us. And that's the goal. So it's frustrating, it's sad, and it's very, very disheartening, which is why I don't really do a lighthearted review. I try to just give information, and I know it's not for everybody, but I also know that somebody will hear me. And if one person hears me and understands the message that I'm trying to put across, I can take that, and I'm not perfect. I've been through a lot, but I can share because of what I've been through. And well, baby, I've been through a lot. So anyway, getting back on track, Dr. Nicole lets them know that, you can be the man in the relationship and communicate with yourself, communicate with your partner and express yourself. Then Darian jumps in. Darian goes into explaining how him and Lex have been together for 14 years, and he wants Dr. Nicole basically to say, hey, how do I give her this ring, get her engaged, but we keep being on this Ferris wheel? And Dr. Nicole's like, no, she has a right to get off the Ferris wheel. If you haven't made a decision, you haven't made a decision. And she has the right to make one. Again, you always have the right to choose, right? Now, if you ask me, Alexia is not going anywhere. She's going to stay with Darian. I will be very surprised that if she leaves. I hope she leaves. I hope she leaves and focuses on herself. But I don't think she's going to. I think she's going to stay because he's giving her what she's been wanting. I think for the first time, Darian has had to be accountable for his behavior, and he has almost lost her, and he's going to try to make it work. The problem is, unless he does the real work, like I said earlier, it's going to be short term, and he's going to be right back into doing the things that he normally does, because that's how he's learned to cope and live his life, right? And she's taught him that it's okay. She's taught him that you can treat me this way, right? Because Alexia hasn't chosen to walk away or set standards and boundaries for him when his behavior has been poor. She's allowed it. And so now he's been comfortable, and he let it know, I know what I've been doing. I've been wasting her time. He knows exactly what he's doing, but it's been allowed. So he's continued to do it. A lot of times, ladies, you don't understand your power. If you require that a man meets your standard, he will, or he'll leave, in which you want him to leave, right? Don't be afraid to stand in the power of who you are as a woman. Don't be afraid to have standards. Don't be afraid to have requirements. And don't be afraid to be the beautiful you that you are. You are worth more than anything. Always know that about yourself. So Dr. Nicole basically lets him know she has the right to leave if you don't do the right thing, but I'm not helping you with anything. After Dr. Nicole basically let Darian and the other man know, but basically Darian, get your life together, poop or get off the pot and lead this relationship or not, she said it's time to go. But she did let them know not everyone has to be married. If it's for you, it's for you. If it's not, it's not, but make it a partnership. And Darian said, this is what he needed to hear. And it is. And it may be too late, or maybe it's not. But like I said, I don't think Lex is leaving. I think she's going to stay. So Dr. Nicole leaves, and the guys sit and they talk a little bit. And Darian is like, she talks about her rights to her 14 years. Those are my 14 years too. She is her own person, and she has the right to leave you if she wants to. But that's really how a lot of men think. And again, that's why that living together and giving privileges where privileges are not allowed or shouldn't be allowed or shouldn't be received. That's why it's a bad idea, because he really believes he has his ownership. Again, I say, for the first time, Darian has had a wake-up call. Like, hey, you really may lose her, or, hey, your BS is exposed, right? Your BS is exposed. And so, Eric did make the statement earlier that we are in the driver's seat. You are a man and you want to lead, then lead. You can't say you can't lead, but then want to lead. Like, everybody talks in riddles and confusions around here. Everybody. So it's like, well, what do you want to do? You want to lead a relationship and be the man of your house and set the tone for the respect that you're going to receive, or no? It's really simple, but people make it complicated. Darian talks about the high-rise condo and he makes money off of that and so on and so forth. Had you been operating as a man of integrity, you would still have your condo. So Darian and Kai meets up. Let me tell you one of my issues with Darian. He always wants to dictate what is said and what the outcome of things are. Let's just handle this without all the argument. You don't get to tell someone else how to react and what to do when you've played with them. Now, Kai has allowed herself to be played. She definitely has. Lex has allowed herself to be treated this way, but you still did what you did. Everybody has their own accountability here, right? So Kai comes in, she gives him like the limp. He wants to hold her hand. Kai sits down, lets it be known, you ghosted me. I haven't seen you in 10 days. The fact that she felt like she had that right to see you within 10 days lets it be known that you made her way too comfortable. We're going to get to the bottom of it because she came ready. So I said on my last review that Dr. Nicole or production, so I think I said Dr. Nicole, but Dr. Nicole production, somebody knew about what went on between them, which is why it was required that he gives her closure, because Kai was on somebody's phone making a scene, right? Darian tries to say that he wanted to give her closure. He's trying to present in his gaslighting, unethical, lying way that, I just wanted to give you closure and meet with you and talk to you. The things are going better, and I'm trying to eliminate anything that may tear apart my relationship. Although Kai has been wrong this whole time in her own behavior, and so has Darian, they both can share in what they did that was wrong. Because, a lot of people, will say, because you hear this all the time, anytime this scenario has happened plenty of times, men step out on a relationship. As a man or a person in your relationship, you're responsible for protecting your relationship. That's your responsibility. This is a case where the woman knew about another woman. So you know about this other woman and you still chose to cheat with him. So that's where you go wrong. Now, if you don't know, that's a whole nother thing. But you knew about the problems because he talked too much and he's disrespectful. You knew where the issues were and you thought that your body and your sex was going to keep him, and it didn't, and it never does. He told you he wanted to work it out, and he told you he loved her, and you ignored all those signs, and women do it all the time. And ladies, let me tell you something. When you see a man operate a certain way, know that that's how he operates, and it is not going to be different for you. You are not better than that other woman. I'm here to tell you. I know you're going to think that. He's going to try to make you think that. He's going to tell you, because she said all the things that you've been telling me, and that was what? That was a way to get in your bed, my love. That was a way to get in your bed. So both of them were wrong as far as I'm concerned, because you knew about her. And this was a game. And you played the game and you got yourself hurt, because you can see the hurt in her face. Before she put that glass up and let Darian know, cheers to closure, you can see the hurt in her face. She was hurt that she got played because she thought she was doing something. You're not doing anything. Don't compromise yourself like that. Guard your heart and guard your body for a person who you know is respectful. He's let you know that he's disrespectful. Why did you think he wasn't going to disrespect you? So they had this conversation. Kai was getting down the whole time, honey. She was eating. I'm going to eat this food. I'm going to eat this soup. I don't care what. I'm going to drink this drink and I'm going to eat. But they were going back and forth. And Kai basically was just giving him the rope to hang himself. She wanted to see what he was going to say before she flat out let us all know that they were intimate and that they had been together. Which is sad. It's all sad to see, because you've disrespected this lady on national TV. You made her believe you were here to work on your relationship, and what you did was betray her and betray everything that you guys had going on. But again, Lex, you've had the signs, because you've been saying this the whole time. And this isn't the first time. He was way too comfortable to do this, for this to be his first time. So basically, Kai was like, yeah, you had sex with me. We had great sex. Did you let her know we was together? So she just spilled all the beans, because before I leave, I'm going to kick over the can of paint and spill it everywhere, so everybody know that I've been here. But it didn't make her look good. It doesn't make him look good. And now all you've done is hurt a bunch of people. And now somebody's mommy is on TV admittedly having sex with a man that was in a relationship. Like, it's a whole mess. It's a whole mess. And I feel sorry for all parties involved, but you got to choose better and you got to do better. That's pretty much it for, the show. We're going to see what happens next week. All I got to say is be accountable for yourself and don't put anything out there that you don't want back, because karma is something else. I hope you guys enjoyed the review. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Comment below. Let me know what you think. And we can have conversation. Miss Etta, I thank you always. She always comments. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for keeping the conversations going. But you guys have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for letting me speak. And please don't forget to love you for who you are. Have a great night. Bye-bye.